The Entrepreneur's Library, episode 239.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Library, the only book-centric podcast that reviews all the top-selling business books and shares authors' perspective firsthand. This is your resource to finding the next great book that will enable you to grow personally and professionally. Welcome your host, Wade Danielson.
Welcome back to the EL. Today we have Jason Treu, author of Social Wealth: How to Build Extraordinary Relationships by Transforming the Way We Live, Love, Lead, and Network. Welcome, Jason, and thank you for joining us on the Entrepreneur's Library.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on, Wade. I really appreciate it.
Before we take a deep dive into your book, Social Wealth, will you take just a moment to introduce yourself and let us know just a little bit about you?
Yes, I'm a business coach, and I work with entrepreneurs and experts to help them get known and stand out. And I also help them when they're stuck in their career and business and need the next push and roadmap to get to the next level. And so I started out working in marketing, in technology, and went to San Francisco from New York after law school and decided that I really wanted to work with people and be close to a lot of cool things, and technology was it during the gold rush. And I got to work with a lot of exciting people like Steve Jobs. I got to work at Yahoo and a bunch of other places. So I got to learn from some amazing people about branding and communications. And I realized after a while that one of the things that I love to do was really working closer with people. And as I got higher in my career, there was more time by myself and less time with people. And I started to dabble in it on the side business, and then decided a couple of years ago to go full time. And I love it and I've never looked back.
So, Jason, first off, thank you for sharing that. Now let's jump right into your book, Social Wealth: How to Build Extraordinary Relationships by Transforming the Way We Live, Love, Lead, and Network, which was made available actually not that long ago, September of 2014. And Jason, we're going to move quickly, but our whole goal here today is to help the listener, the future reader, get a great idea of what your book's all about. And so the first question we have for you is, what was the inspiration behind writing Social Wealth?
Well, the inspiration was people. I believe that relationships are a true wealth in life, and they're the things that we value the most. And disconnection causes us the most pain in life. And people have this false belief that social communication and emotional skill sets are things that we're born with, when in fact, they're all learned behaviors. It's just like going to the gym. You won't get in shape if you don't use your muscles more than once a month. So you have to use this in a consistent way. And so for me, it was trying to help people build extraordinary personal and professional relationships to lead the life that they've always wanted to have.
And this question might be the most important because there's a million books coming out every single month, it seems like, on Amazon. And so what makes your book different from others regarding the same or similar topic?
Well, first, it's a how-to guide. I've spent a lot of time researching this. I have an extensive network of probably 40,000 people overall, and I spend a lot of time going out. So I am an anthropologist, a social scientist, a social engineer. I've spent like the last 10 years meeting people, and I've interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs and well-known people in relationships, and I tested out all this material. I know what works, and I know what doesn't, because I have an extensive network that I engage with all the time. And so for me, I wanted to come up with a book that was a how-to guide, that someone would never need to touch me or talk to me. They could actually use these strategies and be extremely successful on their own without any intervention in any part from me. And from other books out there, you're just not going to find it. And also, most of the people that are writing relationship books, they don't have the frontline research. They aren't there meeting hundreds of people every single week and building those types of relationships.
So, Jason, how did you write the book to be read or consumed? Can a reader jump in and jump out, cherry picking information as needed, or do they really need to start at the beginning and finish all the way through?
I mean, you can go through it and cherry pick information. I think it's most helpful the first time through to actually read all the content so you see how it pieces itself together, because I go through principles, I go through inner work, and then things that you need to do in a practical application. And I think it'd be much more helpful for people to actually look at how the flow works, because I spent a lot of time trying to get the flow for people, and then have it be a book where they could also then flip through to certain chapters and go back and refresh the information or look at it from a new viewpoint after they've actually applied the information in the real world.
So, Jason, this is my favorite part of the entire interview, and this is really the meat and potatoes. This is where I'm going to ask you to give the listener, the future reader, a great idea of what your book's all about. So we take the next 5 to 8 minutes and really lay out what we can expect to get out of the book?
Sure. So I first off the book talking about the most important capital in the world, and that's social capital, and the importance of what that is and how to build it for yourself, and the difference that it'll make in your life and relationships, and especially your business by building this out. And I give examples and tell people how to do it and why, and also what doesn't work in there. And then I go on to tell my own personal story and what happened in my own life and the conversation that I had with my dad the last time that I spoke with him. And my dad and I really never got along. And the last conversation basically was the fact that he died alone. There wasn't anyone really there. And he told me that, spend your time and invest in people and relationships, because at the end of the day, that's all you have. And it's a tragic conversation, but I think for people, that's something they need to take to heart. And then I move on from there and talk about some key success principles that a lot of people don't talk about in there that will actually help you and understand the rest of the book and why these things are important and why they will help you move forward. And then I talk about some inner work and things that you need to do that I think are going to be really helpful. I don't spend that much time on it in the book, but I give you enough that I think is going to be helpful, and also talk about some best practices you can do all day long to instill some habits inside. After that, I start to get into how to master relationships, and I take everyone through where to go, what to do, what to say, body language, how to use it, and a lot of really how-to, very specific information, scripts people can use. And a lot of this initially is more personal information, but you can apply it in a business setting. And then I go through this with more advanced strategies. And then I talk about business applications, and I go through everything from networking, how to work a room, how to contact influencers who you may think you have no chance to contact, and exactly what to do in there, how to go to conferences, which is a key thing, and how to be really successful at those conferences so you build those relationships. I talk about how to follow up with people, how to make a great first impression, how to stand out, how to get known in your industry and really help people through that. And then I talk at the end about just some other things out there, like how to throw events that you might want to do. Now, you could throw this personally, but also you could throw it professionally in other settings. And I talk about everything about how to dress and a lot of other fine-tuning tips for people that other people wouldn't really normally get out there in the world today. And then I encourage people to get out there and really practice all this information, because you need to start applying this information, and then more of it will make sense after you see the results and the things that you're getting out of it. And an underpinning of this book is really helping people be authentic, vulnerable, and speak and live their truth. Because when you do that, the rest of this book really sings through. And when you add to that generosity, you really are going to take all of your relationships to the next level. And I give one thing I can just talk about that really I don't talk about as much in the book that I've added on with clients is when you ask people a question when you first meet them, the question you should always ask people is, what are you passionate about? What projects are you working about that you're passionate on? Because then you're getting an emotional connection. And you're getting into what people really matters to them, and a core part of what's connected to their heart and emotions. And in life, we do everything about how we feel and the feelings that we get. So when you can tap into that, and then you can help someone reach their passions, people will do anything for you. And when you start leading with that and making a deposit in the relationship bank account, people then will help you in any possible way that they can help you. And it's a pretty amazing and special relationship you'll build, even with someone you've met just the first time.
Jason, that is awesome. You did a fantastic job of breaking down the book for us and keeping it simple and straightforward. This next question, so you already broke down the book kind of into a nutshell. Now we're going to take a step further. And that's that if the reader could only take away one concept, principle, or action item out of your entire book and everything that you just laid out for us, what would you personally want that to be?
I think the best place to go to meet people is in group scenarios. And I think going to charity events and nonprofit groups are the best places to go, because that's where social influencers are. That's where the people that are moving and shaking in the world are. And also that's the place that's giving back, because that's helping and giving, inspiring people. So being around those people is amazing. And it's so much easier to meet people in those environments and build relationships and practice your social skills. And so for people, it's a great way to go meet other people. And this is especially true for people who are more introverted or people who are socially awkward. You can go and build some amazing connections over a couple hours a week. And in fact, if you spend just 2 hours a week in those environments, you can meet 100 and probably 500 people in a year that you don't have connections to now by just spending a couple hours a week in easy environments to meet people.
That is fantastic advice. And this next question is a little bit different, Jason, because I'm asking you, people love quotes. And so do you have a favorite quote from your book, or maybe even something that's resonated with the audience so far? And will you take a minute to explain what it means to you?
Sure. So I would quote in here is that we are the sum of our relationships and the people we spend the most time with. We do almost everything in life with or through other people. Relationship mastery is essential to an extraordinary life. We've seen in our own lives and through the stories of other people the pain, heartache, and destruction that can happen when we don't master this area. And so for me, I think it's important. No one had a tombstone that said, I worked a good life. That's just not what we have. Relationships are a part of our DNA, and everyone wants to belong and connect. And so I think that you have to spend time and invest in this area. And if you choose not to, your life will not go well. Your marriage and your partnership will fall apart because that's how you get good. You don't meet someone and magically get good at communication and relationship skills, pulling it out of thin air. And I find in life, hope is not a strategy. It's not going to get you to the next side and the place that you really want to get to. So invest now and take the time, and you will create something special in your personal and professional lives.
That is fantastic. And we're going to put those, because there's a couple of quote-worthy things that you said in there in the show notes at the elpodcast.com. So the entrepreneurs that are listening right now can go back and reflect on those further. And Jason, we're going to move away from your book here for a second, and we're basically asking for the book recommendation, not just any. And so the question is, if there's only one book that you could recommend based on the way that it's impacted your life, maybe changed, maybe there was a paradigm shift or a lifestyle shift, which book would you recommend?
Well, I'll have to give you two because there's two of them. One is Give and Take by Adam Grant. And it's a book on how giving will significantly increase the satisfaction in your life. And it's an amazing book. I would say the other book that I absolutely love is by an author, Brené Brown, and it's The Gifts of Imperfection. And it talks about shame and how to rid yourself of that. And I find both of these books, I think, are extremely important. And I recommend it to every single client I have, no matter what's going on in their life.
So, Dr. Brown, is that a new book? Because I know she just came out with Daring Greatly. Is this a previous book?
It's a previous book. It's a previous book to that. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So I got to hear her speak at a Inc. conference, and she is a phenomenal woman.
She's great.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for those recommendations. And Jason, before we depart, can you recommend the best way for our listener to get more information on you, but also get more information on your book, Social Wealth?
Sure. So you can go to beextraordinary.tv. That's beextraordinary.tv. And you can find all about the book. I've got blogs. I've got free guides on networking and branding and how to contact busy people and a lot more things on there, as well as finding about the book and, how to work with me if that's of interest as well.
Excellent. Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your book with us today.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and your audience.
Thanks again for listening in today. If you'd like more information on Jason or his book, Social Wealth, check out the show notes at the elpodcast.com.
Looking for your next book idea? Head over to the elpodcast.com, where Wade shares his amazing resource, the top 10 business books recommended by over 500 entrepreneurs, with you for free. That's the elpodcast.com. Till the next time, keep it on the EL.